From the Oklahoman newsroom, this is an OSU update. I'm Jenny Carlson here in studio with Jacob Unruh, OSU beat writer. Jacob, good wide receiver play is nothing new at Oklahoma State, but we're seeing sort of a continuation of a trend, but a new face that's emerging as well. Let's talk about the continuation of a superstar trend that has been going for a while. Tylan Wallace continues to impress. He had that highlight-worthy touchdown on Saturday at Iowa State. What impressed you most about that play?
I think it's that physicality that Wallace plays with. You know he has physicality. He gets in those tussles and battles with defensive backs on the edge there, and he's willing to go and make whatever catch he can and do what he needs to do it. But that physicality, that stiff arm, was really impressive, and he did it twice pretty much. He didn't quite land it directly on the second time, but he did it twice, and that was incredible to me. And he said he's done that as long as he can remember, essentially, and it was just kind of natural. He said, I had to get there, and I found my way.
I admit I've watched that play at least half a dozen times. How many times have you watched it?
Probably more than that. Especially as I was trying to break it down in my head too. It was like, all right, where was he? Who did he get? And it took forever to figure out who he actually got with the stiff arm, and that was just so impressive to see a guy that isn't really too big do that.
Right. It felt a little bit like a video game. Guys would come flying into the picture and he'd just bat him away. Impressive stuff. But as I mentioned, not only does Oklahoma State have that superstar as they often have at wide receiver, but they're having an emergent young guy in Braydon Johnson that's kind of stepping forward here of late. As opponents get even tougher, he seems to be stepping forward.
Yeah, 7 catches the last 3 games, with 3 of those 50 or more yards. He's averaging 22 yards a catch.
It's amazing.
I mean, it's incredible for a guy who was used very little the first half of this season, and now he's starting to emerge. Spencer Sanders getting more comfortable with him. He's spreading the ball around more in general too, and Braydon's become that target. He was on the field a lot the other day, maybe a lot more than Jordan McRae and some other guys like that you saw on the field more early in the season, and so now he's starting to really emerge.
How does that impact things? Because they do still have Jordan McRae and guys that are taller at the position. But now with Braydon Johnson, what does he bring? How does that change the dynamic?
I feel like it's a little faster, a little speed that you can get there. He's not as big, obviously, but if you get him the ball like you saw on a screen, he can take it to the house just like Tylan can, and you really have to account for that if you're a secondary.
Yeah, well, it's going to be interesting to see what the Cowboys do on Saturday, how they use all these guys, because a lot of wide receivers, a lot of talent out there. Be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at Oklahoman.com and every day in the Oklahoman.